Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert, to your own research. Today I just wanted to talk about the decentralized finance coins. Let's just look here at the overall environment. So what I have here is the DeFi PERP futures index on FTX. This is like a basket of multiple different decentralized finance coins. I can't remember exactly what exactly is on this index specifically, but I do know that like AAVE and Compound, those are some of the coins that are on this index. This is usually a good macro indicator of what the entire decentralized finance market looks like, and yeah, I think it looks pretty good overall. Like as you can see right here, this was a double bottom around 5,500, and now price is breaking past this 200-day EMA on the red line. As you can see here, to me it looks like it's going to go to 11,000. This looks like the next likely level up. Things still look pretty good, especially with the daily close over this level. There is residual sellers all throughout like this 10,000 area, but to me I think that decentralized finance looks pretty good. So I would kind of view this area as the next area up, around 11,000, and after that I have no idea. I mean, it could grind up to 11.6 and, you know, kind of check that area out and eventually maybe break all-time highs, but to me it would make sense if we saw something like this where we go up and then we like kind of chop around for a little bit for, you know, a few weeks and then maybe moon up. This structure is something that I maybe am thinking about for many other altcoins. This was initially from the SNX chart in 2020, where it had a V-shaped bottom, came back up, chopped around for a bit, and then went on a moon mission in early 2021. So we might see something similar, but again, this is like an index, so it's going to be a little bit different. But the overall macro environment from a big picture standpoint looks pretty good. So let's look at some of these charts here. AAVE looks really solid in my opinion. I charted this out like a few weeks ago. To me, this is like a simple SR flip for around $330. Support, 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 support for a little bit. And as you can see, this was like the bouncing ball type of price action where it just keeps dumping down onto support. And as these bids are getting filled, this level gets weaker and weaker. It eventually breaks through in late June. Bearish retest. But it's interesting to note that after the bearish retest in early July, it created a higher low around 220. And once again, we saw this kind of test this level around 320. I actually did an impulsive long around here. And then I had bids at the 200-day EMA around 290, but they never filled, unfortunately. Price continued to grind up. And if you look down at lower time frame charts too, you'll see that when price hangs around a resistance level with kind of these higher lows on like high time frame charts on the daily, this is pretty bullish, especially with the EMAs looking the way they are. So I probably should have just like taken a somewhat risky long. Like, you know, I did long around like 310 or so, but then I decided it was impulsive, stopped out, or not stopped out, just like, you know, cut it for a small loss, and then obviously I would have been in great profit. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, I decided to manage my risk in terms of market conditions. What we're seeing now is we saw a break of this resistance level at 340. To me, like 420 is like the next level up. I think that decentralized finance still looks pretty good as a whole, as I just said. 420 would be my next level up. There are, that's like an SR level, and it would make sense that it would fill out this kind of low volume node there. But yeah, to me, like this kind of like 420 area would be like the next level up. After that, there's a lot of resistance all throughout this entire range. Like it's kind of hard to see where the next area up would be. You could maybe use this daily close at 470, but this entire upper area would just all be like a big supply zone. So anywhere from 500 to 700 or so, that's like a pretty big resistance area, and I know that's like a pretty big range to play with, but I do expect there to be a pretty good short opportunity up there on the first go, depending on how price gets there. So to me, again, similar to like what I just talked about with SNX, it would make sense to me if we see something like this, where like price comes back and then like chops around and then goes up. So that's kind of like my overall thoughts on AAVE. I think that for now, 420 is like kind of an interesting level for the next area up. In terms of dips to buy, if price pulls back heavily, the 200-day EMA looks to have been like pretty solid. So anywhere around $300 seems like a pretty good area of interest in my opinion. But again, that's kind of far away. But if Bitcoin does dump, then we'll see a big pullback for this. And obviously, as it always is, if Bitcoin does dump, then I expect altcoins to just like dump even harder, as it always is. You know, it's kind of risk. Let's go with RUNE actually first. RUNE has this massive V-shaped bottom. I continue to sell around like $7 and stuff like that, and also I think I sold at 640, and then I sold again at 740, or even lower, like 720, and it just keeps going up. Like this is like a massive, like kind of almost V-shaped reversal. Like, I mean, this isn't quite rounded. I mean, a little bit rounded, but I usually expect a little bit more time for a rounded bottom. This is almost more like a V-shaped reversal. And obviously this is incredible volume coming in right now. This does look to be the short-term bottom in my opinion. What I expect to see for something like RUNE, because it dumped so hard, I mean, it went from 20 to 3. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see this kind of go to like $10 next. This is like the next area of interest in my opinion. This is like obviously support and then resistance twice, as you can see here. And that's kind of like my area of interest here. You can like see something like this. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see this, but I don't know where the pullback's going to be, honestly. I keep like assuming that like something like 650 was going to be a pullback, but I was clearly not like right at all. I mean, it momentarily pulled back, but yeah, there was like, it's interesting to note too that these areas have been tapped quite a bit in the past. Like you can see in early June, this area got tapped twice. In May, this resistance area got tapped 3 times. So when, as I always say, like the more times that areas are tapped, the less resistance there is going to be. And that's probably why this area around 650 was so easy to break, because price consolidated there for a while and then dumped. So, you know, I do expect $10 to come. I don't know when it's going, like what the reaction from there is going to be. I do believe that RUNE is a solid coin to really consider buying the dip on. With that said, similar to SNX, like I wouldn't be surprised at all to see this kind of make a big move up to like 10 and then chop around and then make another move up later on. But for now, I think that the trend looks pretty bullish. It looks like the volume is pretty nice on it. So looking to buy dips on RUNE. INJ, this is a coin that looks pretty good to me. It has a big move up today, and the volume is really nice to see. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see this kind of form like sort of like cup and handle type of pattern. The 200-day EMA is acting as resistance for right now, and usually this is like a pretty good indicator for resistance, especially since it really never got tapped before. Or not, it didn't get tapped for a long time. To me, like the level to break would be $10.80 or so, or $11. This is like the area that I'm looking at, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see this grind up to 11 and then sort of kind of form like a higher low and then go up higher. There is like a lot more. There is a lot more. What am I trying to say? There's a lot more upside for this coin, given like how big it dumped. I mean, again, similar to RUNE, it went from like 25 to like 5, so like pretty significant pullback. But wouldn't surprise me at all to see this like go up, dip down, and then go higher. I wouldn't necessarily buy here though, personally. It is interesting to note though that the 200 EMA on the 4-hour did get flipped to support, and the other EMAs also look pretty healthy as well. When you see price clump together heavily like this, then it usually means there's a lot of consolidation, and it's like getting ready to make a big move in either direction. And another coin that you might want to look at for this setup is Reef. Reef also has this similar setup as well, so that could be like a lagging one. Compound looks pretty good. And like I'll also say, like most all these coins look pretty good. Like as I said, with the DeFi index, looks pretty strong in general. To me, like 550 would be like the next area up. It's acted as resistance like several times all throughout March and February, and again, you can see this area is just like an area of interest for this chart across like several different instances. So to me, like 550 would be like the next area up. It would make sense if we saw this go up to 550, pull back to like 450 or something like that, or maybe 400, and then chop around for a bit. Overall, it looks pretty good. Compound, like decent volume coming in, and yeah. Now, like I want to make clear too that I don't really expect all-time high levels for these charts, like anytime soon. Like I do think that it will eventually break all-time high. I just don't know when or where it will be. To me, I still believe that it's still in like kind of this large range. As you can see, back in February, you know, it did have this large range, and then it did expand, but I thought it would expand even harder than it did. But you know, it to me it looks like this still needs a little bit more consolidation. So eventually, I would not be surprised to see this kind of go up to like 550 and then chop around. So still looks pretty decent. Sushi is okay. It's a little bit lagging relative to some of the other decentralized finance coins. I use this fib for this entire range, and it looks like price is just consolidating from the $6.50 to $10 area. It's just chopping around. 200-day EMA is like acting as resistance for now, but I actually expect this to break, so this looks pretty decent. Like support and resistance areas, the 200-day EMA, in my experience, I find that like, you know, the more interaction it has with price, like the more likely it is to be flipped. And because it's been tapped several times as resistance, I think that the EMA will get flipped pretty soon. But it looks pretty good on high time frame charts. Like, you know, if you want to have a safe trade, you can just wait for an SR flip of $10 and then wait for something like 12 or 13.50 or so to come. That seems like a pretty reasonable like plan to me, something like this. From there, I have no idea like where this will go. If you like get rid of the fibs, this was kind of like making some sort of like rounded bottom, where it's just kind of, you know, rounded, and then maybe it'll form like a cup and handle type of thing. But Uniswap looks pretty reasonable as well. 200-day EMA has gotten flipped as support. To me, this kind of selling area around $30 to $25 to $30 is like kind of like a sell area. Looks strong for right now, but again, like this is kind of, or I'm sorry, maybe like 27 or so is kind of like an area of interest. I do think that this area will get tested around $30, but again, after that, I have no idea. So something like this would make sense, pull back, and then I don't know what it's going to look like there, but yeah. And you could argue still that this is just like in a large range as well. Like, you know, price kind of hit this kind of range low area around $16. It's gotten tested a few times, and you know, never got the low around 13 never got tapped again. But maybe price is just within this large range, and then it'll just keep ranging for a while and then not break all-time highs until Q4 if Bitcoin plays nice. So I guess those are all my decentralized finance coins. I do believe that DeFi index overall looks pretty good, and decentralized finance coins do well. As I always say, it's very important to understand which coins fall into different baskets in terms of fundamental analysis. If you are an altcoin trader, you must understand the relationships between coins, and you must understand that sectors usually pump together. So decentralized finance coins will pump together, NFT coins will pump together, SAM coins like Solana, FTT, those coins will, SRM, those coins will pump together. You must understand the relationships. So anyways, that's my little rant on that. And I do believe decentralized finance looks pretty good. So good luck, guys, and let me know what you think.